Hello, and welcome to another terrifying episode of Cult Film and Review, the podcast where we discuss the films you love but no one else gets and see if they still hold up. Grab your hypnosol, don't fall asleep, because tonight, your dreams turn into nightmares as we discuss Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Your Hollywood system stole our sex and co-opted our violence, so there's nothing left for our kinds of movies.
I did not hit her. It's not true.
Klopex? Klopex. Klopex.
Up yours, baby.
Me and Bubba, my little brother, listen to you every night.
Where in the hell are we?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey guys, welcome to another Halloween extravaganza episode from Cult Film and Review. Thanks for joining us. Please make sure that you subscribe to our podcast. It helps us out so much. It's crazy, but please do that for us. Tonight we're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. It was directed by Chuck Russell. It came out in 1987 and had a budget of $4.5 million. All right, as always, I am joined by Kyle Smith.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to the show, bitch. I am joined by Chris Willenbrecht.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome to the show, bitch. And I am joined by Michael Salustio.
I want to be a star.
Welcome to the show, bitch. That was my Freddy moment. I had to get it out. It's prime time, bitch. All right. Is that everyone's favorite line? Can we just get that
Is it
segment?
the only like
I mean,
Freddy quippy line?
See, I have a way to go and talk about this because I have questions about Dream Warriors.
Okay.
But
I do want to just, if we could just touch on it briefly, I feel like that is I do think it is one of the only quippy lines, and it's this window into the world where Freddy's going to go.
Yeah.
I agree.
As films follow.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and why? Because what's the line that everybody remembers from this film, and what's their favorite line?
It's prime time. Bitch?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, is that a
That was a trick question. Yeah.
No, it's not. That's not a trick question. That's everyone's favorite line, right? I mean, how could it not be? It's so good.
It's most memorable, that's for
yeah,
sure.
and then he slams a girl into a TV.
Mhm. No, that was suicide.
Well, she did that herself.
Yeah.
Is anybody gonna ask me the question?
Oh, well, did you even say whose pick it was?
Oh, this is my pick.
Cody, why'd you pick the film?
Oh, thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
So I picked this movie because this is my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Which it turns out from what I saw on my own Instagram from me posting that I was watching the movie for this podcast, that this is quite a few people's favorite Nightmare on Elm Street also. After watching it this time with kind of fresh eyes, my question to everyone else in a way, and it's not yet, it's because it's kind of rhetorical and metaphorical and whatever words that I'm using that I don't know.
Oracle.
Yeah,
A lot of oracles
A lot
happening.
of oracle things. I really can't figure out or pinpoint exactly why this is my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
I'll tell you why I figured out why it was my favorite was when I saw this movie, it was the early 90s, and I was like way into X-Men. And like this movie is kind of like that. These kids have superpowers in their dreams. They have powers. So I always thought like that's so cool. What a cool concept. And they're fighting Freddy. They're like a team of warriors, you know, but I mean, it wasn't what I remember, but that's the only reason I could think of it. Like, because I mean, on a scare factor, I'm gonna go with the first one always.
Well, that's the weird thing too. Is like with this one, I feel like comparative, especially to his later movies. And maybe even with the first one, I'm probably wrong on this. I don't know the actual body count, but to me, that seems like the body count in this movie is not that high.
I'm pretty sure it's 2, maybe 3.
Yeah,
2?
No,
I
it's
don't
more
know.
than that.
Kid falling off the thing.
Yeah, the puppeteer thing.
Yeah.
Girl getting smashed into the thing.
TV.
Father?
The TV.
The father.
Oh, okay.
And Nancy.
Girl getting injected.
Yeah. And Nancy.
Okay.
So 5.
Oh yeah, technically, doesn't Nancy come back though later on?
No.
She well, I
Come
mean,
back in another
no,
one?
they bring her back for New Nightmare. But
Oh, New
she's-
Nightmare.
She's,
That doesn't
she's
count.
the
That doesn't
actress.
count.
She's the
That doesn't
actress.
count. Okay, I thought they brought her back for some weird
No.
reason. I don't know
Nope.
why. Okay. So that's like 6.
Yeah,
No,
five or
yeah, I would say 5 or 6
Like I
is
said,
fair.
Because we could
probably
the
GTS this
nerdy
shit.
kid, like he dies. I mean, I guess he does.
Yeah, he does.
Which one?
I guess
He-
if stabbing the kid in the shoulder and then cutting to something else is
No,
death.
he's dead. He's dead.
Yeah. Also, I would even count the mom,
the wizard.
the mom getting her head ripped off and him holding it up to Patricia Arquette in the bed. That's a kill.
That's not
dream.
real.
It's a kill.
That's dream
It's
kill.
a dream kill.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's
Mom's
body.
still alive in real life.
Hallucination, yeah.
Mom's still alive in real life.
Okay, but it still counts as a kill.
I guess you're right. I mean,
technically-
it's an
But you
But you don't
on-screen-
actually,
Technically, yeah.
you don't see
Murder.
the kill.
I felt like this whole film didn't have a lot of like violence in it. There were a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
agree.
weird deaths. Like I said, the wizard kid.
Yeah.
It's not even remotely violent.
You know what? Watch this. It dawned on me like, how not a unit of warriors they were. They get
They're pretty
separated
shitty.
and they just get knocked out one by one.
Well, I have a
pretty quickly.
I have a lot to talk about with
Yeah,
that.
I want to get into
Yeah.
that too.
All right. So let's do this then. Let's
Did you
everyone
say what the film was about?
No.
Oh,
Let me say that. Because we've already gone this far about it, so why the hell not? If you don't know what this movie is about, it's about survivors of an undead serial killer, Freddy Krueger, who stalks his victims in their dreams and learns to take. These kids basically learn to take control of their own dreams in order to fight him. That's pretty much it.
That's about right.
That's pretty much it.
Can't go wrong with that.
No. So with
I think
that,
a better way to describe it is Nancy comes back and recruits a top-notch team of kids to fight
See,
Freddy.
You know what? We're using the right way. Nancy comes back and exploits a
Yes.
group of unsuspecting
Let's get into
teenagers with
this later.
suicidal tendencies.
you know what? Let's take a break and then we'll talk about her exploiting teens when we come back.
Chair for you, kid.
I am the Wizard Master. I am the Wizard Master. In the name of Lorik, Prince of Elves, demon be gone!
Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales.
All right, we are back and we are talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. First off, Chris, I want to ask you this. What do you think makes Nightmare on Elm Street 3 a good like Halloween movie or a cult film? Because I feel like it's a cult film. I feel safe in saying that. Or like it's just a good fun movie to watch during Halloween time. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, of course. Nightmare on Elm Street's always a good series to watch during Halloween, but this one particularly, I think it can go both ways. You could either sit down and actually watch it and enjoy it as a film, or like we've been saying in a lot of these other ones, you put it on the background and every time you turn around, there's something interesting happening on screen. It's like a very, I don't know, it's a very colorful film, if you will. Like in it, and that's how I think kind of sets it apart from the rest of the series, and maybe why people gravitate to it around this time.
Do you think, Kyle, that the third one may be the most popular in the series, or do you think it could be one of the most popular in the series? Or is this the one you hear most about?
I think it's the one that has the biggest cult following for sure. Yeah. I mean, other than the first one, but the first one gets more like critical praise.
Yeah. It's considered one of the best sequels. I know that.
Yeah.
But what makes you think that people perceive it that way, I guess, is kind of what I'm also getting at.
Why they perceive it as better, as one of the best sequels. I mean, realistically, there's not a lot of competition when you're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street sequels, because after this film, as we've already kind of touched on, you get what's commonly referred to as Johnny Carson, Freddy Krueger going forward, and it takes a very slapstick comical approach to the films. And a lot of people are into that, and that's cool. But if you're like a diehard horror fan, like this movie has the perfect balance of action, horror, or at least perceived action. That's what I was kind of talking to Chris about, where this movie can be really summed up by its theme song. It's like rock and roll, of the series. That's that sequel. The second one's kind of the weird underdog that no one gives credit to, but I think is a solid film, but it's not as cool as going into your dream and like having powers, I think that's what everybody connects with, because I think everybody's had that dream where they can fly or they can, they're super strong or whatever the hell. And like that, this movie kind of connects on that level, maybe.
Mike, do you think that's what it is? Is like it's maybe people are connecting with the kids and living out this fantasy and fighting an evil doer that people connect with, and that kind of makes this one the more popular of the sequels or the cult film?
Yeah, I
sequels?
definitely agree with that. I think it is like I guess it's like almost kind of like a high concept idea of like, okay, here it is, Freddy Krueger. We know him as the predator, but now he's the prey. Maybe like I mean, it doesn't really pan out that way, but the promise of that was kind of cool, and the idea that these kids could have powers in their dreams and they were taking back the dream world in a sense. I think that was a big appeal to it. I think it was appealed especially to what I think with these films too is the secret audience of who was really watching it, which was with teenage kids.
Mm-hmm.
That is appealing to them.
Oh, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they probably was this movie rated R? I'm assuming it was.
Yeah,
of course.
They weren't allowed to be in theaters, but like, hey, who of us weren't watching them? Right, we were all teenagers when this fucking thing
you
came
were
out.
dying to see these kind of movies.
and we did, and we got to see them, and we went to see them.
I was born when this came out.
Yeah. Okay. So, who wasn't a teenager? Anybody? Everybody? Fuck you.
Just you, Mike.
I mean, kind of. I don't know if it's a fan theory or if it's just me diving too much in my head into this own my film, but like this film because I like it so much. But that's kind of. I think the appeal to this one
What's
also is that it's the perfect. I feel like this is the perfect blend between the Johnny Carson, Freddy, and the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
where one of the things I noticed about this movie, and I give it a lot of credit, especially this watch through that I had this complaint when I was watching it, and then I thought about it after the film was over, and then I was like, man, I was way wrong in my opinion. I was like, there wasn't a lot of Freddy in this movie.
No,
there's not.
There really isn't.
There really isn't.
And then I was like, I'm wrong. There is a ton of Freddy in this movie.
Well,
a ton.
You mean the last half hour?
No. It's throughout the whole movie.
This is his theory.
But,
Okay.
Yeah, it's the dream sequences. One thing that stood out to me the most with this movie was the settings. And I believe that the settings of this movie and a lot of them like he pops out of mirrors, he pops out of the walls as a giant snake. He actually is the faucet handles that grab. These sets are Freddy himself. They are in his world. This is his.
Right.
So I feel like there is a lot of Freddy in this movie.
Well, yeah, I agree.
But he's behind the scenes working the strings of these kids in the dreams because he
Fucking
knows
literally.
he's in for a fight. I feel like. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
literally,
that's
too.
kind of. I mean, that's a really good point. And actually, if you go back and look at some of the other films in the series, it's kind of a running theme because even in the first one, his mouth and tongue become part of a phone she's on and stuff. Like it's not actually him, but and then in the second one, there's the shower scene where he's all the faucets and heads of the showers like stretching out of the wall and shit. Yeah, he uses a lot of the environment as weapons, but he doesn't really completely come into physical form until he's cornered them to where he could like get a kill.
Yeah. And I feel like this one I feel like stands out. I feel like more than others because I felt like in a way this is the most grandiose we've ever seen that world.
At the time when this was made?
Yeah. This is very big for that dream world if you think about it. Like, I mean, these sets are and there's always these like weird twirling out shots or pull back shots to reveal how big these areas are that these actors are in.
Yeah.
Too. So I feel like the sets themselves were kind of, I don't know if this is purposely done. I have to imagine it was, though. Was supposed to be interpreted as these are Freddy. Like this, Freddy is here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe that comes across very well, but I certainly picked up on it. But this is like I don't know. I've seen this movie 100 times, and I'm just now picking up on it. But maybe because I'm looking at it differently. I don't know.
If that was the intention, that was really smart. Although I will say, because Freddy is so iconic as his physical form, Like that's what people I feel like really latch
But
on to.
yeah, I agree, but more so after this film. That's
think
true.
so?
More. That's yeah.
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the first film
first
really is like
But-
the one that.
But
that
the Ziggy one-liners that everybody quotes and stuff like that came after this movie. We'll start it with this
do
movie.
a lot
came
of
after.
people do that though? I kind of feel like there's
Go to a horror convention.
I kind of feel like there's got to be a group, or not a group, but most people like look at the films that come after this one as kind of like eye-rolling affairs. Like it's good to watch for kills, but other than that, it's so tongue-in-cheek. It's almost. I mean, yeah, there's a group of audience that's going to love that.
No,
and love the
definitely.
comedy aspect of it, but I think he establishes himself, and he's remembered, like mostly for. I would say he's most remembered for the scene in the alley in the first one when his
Yeah.
arms are stretched out and he's walking
Yeah.
towards her. Like that is the most iconic image I feel like of him. After that, it just keeps getting campier and he keeps getting funnier. Like I don't know if this movie like really like set him up in people's minds better than the first one did. I guess is what I was.
Oh, I would agree with that. I don't
Yeah.
think it did. In a way, I feel like it cared about the kids more, or it may try to make you like. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I feel like this one tries to make you care about the kids more, but it's not. You think you care about the other kids, but all you really care about is Patricia Arquette, just like Nancy. It's really weird because she's supposed to be taking care of all of them. It's her job, Nancy. No wonder you die at the end.
Spoiler
Patricia
alert.
Arquette but she was the special one, right?
Yeah.
She's the one that I feel like they were trying to hand a torch over to.
Yeah.
And-
No,
Yeah.
that's
like that was the intent.
well.
of
That's
this
what
film.
happened. No, see, that's the thing that was not the intent of this film. The intent of this film was after the second one. Wes Craven was like, "We got to end this."
Yeah, trilogy. Why not?
Well, no, because I don't think he liked the second one very much. If I what I read was correct,
I would imagine.
100%. No.
Yeah.
He wasn't very that much. So he kind of jumped on board with this one, and this was supposed to be the last one.
Yeah, it feels like it too.
Yeah. I definitely think so. No, you have two main staples die in this
Yeah,
one.
the two main protagonists in the first one are done. They
Are
kill 'em
done.
off.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. But like, I mean, I guess you could say like the ending, the very end, the light turns on. That must have been something Hollywood was just like, we're not done yet.
That was not, yeah, I get, yeah, that's something that like, they added
that
in
leaves-
the last minute.
Well,
like,
yeah.
Just go do a quick reshoot.
Well, no, that's definitely a studio thing because the studio's
yeah.
like, what if this is a hit?
Yeah.
Turns
exactly.
out it was.
Yeah, it was a huge hit.
Yeah, made for $4 million, made 44.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
of course, fucking Dream Master and Dream Child came out after this.
You want to know what else made it popular? Super popular? They made a game, a Nintendo game called Friday the 13th. It was just Dream Warriors. But they called it Friday the 13th. They didn't call it
What?
Friday the 13th 3. They called it Friday the 13th.
They mixed it up, huh?
It was like you ran around.
You mean Nightmare on Elm Street? Or you
Nightmare on
miss-
Elm Street.
I
Why did I say
know.
that?
I'm like,
Shit.
the whole time I'm like,
How funny
whoa.
is it that we just had a hold
just
on,
had this
audience,
conversation. We
audience,
just
you
had
need
this
to hear this.
conversation. I do
Behind the
this all the time.
scenes, we had a conversation about how me and Mike misquote things constantly all the time because two other people admitted that they don't look at anything when up.
But we have notes in front of us like we're
Me,
fucking
yeah, we have notes in front of
Sherlock
us,
Holmes and Watson.
but we
can
misquote
never get it
everything.
right.
I was about to say, like, no, there is a Friday 13th game.
Yeah,
it's
that's
terrible.
what I
It's terrible.
Yeah, that's what I
I meant,
said.
I meant
you always
yeah.
die.
there is a Nightmare on Elm Street game. And it's just Dream Warriors. That's what it is. But they called it Nightmare on Elm Street.
But
And you run around and you get dream powers. You become like a gymnast and a strongman and shit. And you do things.
A chick with knives.
It's horrible. Guess
Yeah,
what?
what was
just
that
like the Friday
power?
the 13th.
Oh, what? We're gonna get into
Yeah.
powers here in a second because she's my favorite. How dare you?
Oh, we'll talk about it.
One of the things I also wanted to talk about was how do you think as far as the series goes, right? Because I look at other series like Halloween, and I look at other series like Friday the 13th, which has like a revolving female character. It really doesn't stay the same.
Right.
Halloween, people were begging for Jamie Lee Curtis to die. Wish it happened in a better movie. And then, and I feel like this one's perfectly times Nancy's death. Like, I feel like 3 was enough. Like, she was the main. Like, if she would have lasted through all of them, I don't know. I just feel like it was timed perfectly
Well,
compared to other series.
Jamie Lee Curtis's character doesn't last through all of them. She's in the first and second one, then she's fucking deuces.
No, she's hiding out. The rest of the time comes back in H2O, and then
She's
that's when
deuces
she-
until H2O, and then
that's when she finally gets the axe.
But where I think Halloween differs is like that entire film is really centralized the idea of family, and like he has to stop the bloodline.
Yeah.
That's his goal. So you have family coming up, but,
But
this
this-
one, I agree with you. I think it's nice to see Nancy pop up because you watch a second one and it's completely unrelated to the
Yeah.
first, and then all of a sudden here she is. She's back. She went to college and stuff, and she's majored in like studying dreams, which go fucking figure, giving her her historical background. So
I have a question about Nancy's character in this.
Sure.
Why does she have like a rogue streak of gray in her hair?
Watch the movie.
that happens in the first one.
That happens in the first one?
Yeah.
Did I
Yeah.
miss that part?
Yeah,
Why
it's
does
at
that
the
happen?
end
Yeah.
when she pops out of the dream.
He pops out of the dream, she gets a rogue streak of
Yeah,
gray.
Yeah.
from being so
It had-
fucking
dude,
scared.
That happened in like actually that was like a thing in film. Like it happened in Evil Dead 2. It's just
Oh, that's right.
Remember, there's something
You get
tied.
so-
there's something tied to if you get so scared,
your hair
it's
turns gray.
I wonder if
a part
there's
of your
actually
hair
like a
grays.
real thing
I think
that's
it is a real
thing that
thing.
happens.
I think so. I don't know. You can look it up. You have a laptop in front of you that has internet.
I don't really want to do it.
Another question kind of going along that too. Where do you think Freddy's origin story, because you get Freddy's origin story in this movie.
You get in every movie, don't you?
Like you get a piece of it. There's always a new little
This
tidbit.
is the
like,
first one where they talk about his mother being
Yeah.
raped by 1,000
exactly.
maniacs.
Yeah.
or some
What
shit.
you
100.
what you see in 5, right? That story pops back up in 5.
Yeah,
But
with the child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
where do you think it ranks comparative to other origin stories? Kid who drowns in a lake, or
I think it's weird. I mean, you made the joke one time before, Mike. He's a lovable child molester. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like,
basically.
and that's like I feel like where the story really came from. Why the parents burned him to begin with, and it's like in this one, it's kind of funny because it's like that is a weird concept now to think about. It's like okay, little boy drowned in a lake, he kills campers. Okay, little kid kills his sister as a mental patient for the next 15 years or whatever. And like this one's like this kid or this guy raped children,
Killed them.
killed them,
Burned them in an oven.
and then all the parents got together
Yeah, and then
had
burned him.
Yeah, which makes it's funny that it's so acceptable, but I do like it. I think it's creepy as fuck.
but see, but that's the difference. Where I'll tell you where the difference is. You want to know? I guess where they kind of try to make the difference. I would say I don't know if it really works because I guess in all of this, Freddy's still innocent. Like with Friday the 13th, Jason is an innocent child who drowns.
Yeah.
With same like
With Halloween, I mean, Michael Myers just he. See, that's the thing. Like these all
Michael
these
My-
films kind of touch on like a thing with kids, right? So like Michael Myers is a kid when he kills his sister. Jason is a kid when he drowns, and then the thing with Freddy is like there's like I mean, unless we know more about him, there's no outside influences on his upbringing as a child.
But they imply
that it's nature.
Well,
if
no,
it's nature versus nurture.
I don't think
It's
yeah, they
I
do.
don't- I was-
He's a maniac because he's the collected sperm of 1,000 other maniacs.
But I also feel like that's explained. But he was also born by a nun, which I feel like explains the demon part of it because he's basically a demon.
He's like an antichrist kind of character.
Well, he's a demon, right? Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't you take he haunts people?
He almost seems like he's a ghost
Yeah,
or like a malevolent force that was
Yeah.
created by.
But now with
I don't
this
think
hold on
demon.
with this
Yeah.
backstory you're getting that his mother was a nun, she was raped by 100 maniacs,
Or whatever.
and they all their semen got together, and
Which is not possible.
Yeah.
Bunch of those
And made-
swimmers got in one egg.
made one evil baby is what the impression I got
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
story and how it's depicted.
Right.
So I feel like they kind of just said he was kind of just that's why he raped children because he was just a demon bastard from the get-go.
Right. That's absolutely what they're saying.
Bad DNA.
They're absolutely what they're saying.
Bad DNA, that's what it is.
I'll tell you. I will tell you what I think is the reason why he becomes like almost a joking, lovable character. He's the only one of those characters that we've mentioned that speaks. The only other one that we can think of is like Leprechaun and maybe
Oh.
Chucky or something like
Pinhead.
that.
Pinhead speaks.
That's true, but they
Yeah.
never tried to make Pinhead a lovable
No.
guy.
Yeah, but he showed,
They never did.
you don't want the poster child for S&M selling you Fritos.
But don't you remember, there was a Friday the 13th.
But you do want the child
molester.
molester.
Selling you a Pepsi.
Selling your Pepsi. He had his own TV show. Remember that?
Yeah,
what
true.
was the name of that? Like Freddy's Nightmares or something like that?
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
hey, everybody. And
Yeah.
like he was like an Elvira character.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's because of that campiness they brought
Yeah.
into it.
They made you forget about the child molestation.
Yeah, they
really
kinda
breezed
threw that
over
away.
that going forward. Like,
One
we're
of
gonna
the,
cover that
one of
up.
the other things I wanted to bring up too, that was kind of touched upon earlier, was the group formation of these kids, right?
Mhm.
And going after Freddy and fighting Freddy. And I kind of think it relates to the suicide aspect a little bit, in the fact that it's this notion, right? Like this movie is like the total teenager movie of I'll quote my good pal. I met him once, Will Smith. I did. He said parents just don't understand, and I feel like that's what this movie is. And I feel like almost Nightmare on Elm Street to begin with.
Where are you going with this?
Where I'm going with this is that these kids have no power when they're locked up in this psych ward.
Yeah.
And none of the adults believe them or believe their story. And they can't really fight the adults in the real world.
Right.
So I feel like Freddy is almost a representation of the adults in the real world, and they're fighting the adults for what to prove that basically they were right and they were real in a weird kind of
Which can we
film
can,
way.
Can we just say, like, given the deaths that happened and how they happened, how do you not believe that something's going on? Like, even the kid who jumps from the tower, he got into a locked ward, and there's no sign of like any doors being opened or jimmied or anything. He doesn't have keys or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the girl, the most ridiculous
Yeah.
one, her head's implanted into a TV 5 feet off the ground, and she's hanging from it. It's like
she dove head first into the thing.
Is that a run and start?
But that's how over the head they're beating you with. Parents don't understand. I feel like it's so ridiculous that it's like everybody in the audience is going, "How do you fucking not know? How do you not know?"
No, it's true because I mean, even like the head nurse in the psych
Oh,
ward,
I hate her.
she's a representation of the parental figure.
Yes.
Whereas the
doctor?
doctor
No.
is on the kid's side where he's like, no, I'm trying to
You know who the
understand
doctor is? He's Bill Murray in the fucking camp movie that we just watched.
Meatballs.
Thank you, Meatballs. I'm so excited that I'm forgetting movies. I'm so riled up.
Bill Murray?
He's the Bill Murray. He's the one cool adult besides Nancy, because Nancy's not really an adult. She just got out of college.
I feel like Nancy's the cool adult, and he's the one that like
Well, he's also
became a little love
he's also
struck.
he's the love interest also. but you know, he's perceived by those kids. The kids all like him.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like the one cool. There's always
No,
in these
they-
stories.
they
the one
They
cool
like
adult.
Kincaid. They like or not Kincaid. They like Max.
Yeah, I was like, he's a 10.
Who? Larry?
yeah,
Larry
Larry Fishburne.
Oh,
Larry
before he got all Hollywood.
and turned into Lawrence.
Yeah.
Who you kidding, Larry? Who you kidding?
We found you, Larry.
So yeah, I want to go off on your theory a little bit because I actually am now starting to pinpoint
Told you.
what might be a semblance of a theme here.
Did I tell you?
So if that's the case, there might be something that's being said because even when I was watching it, there was something to be said about the father's neglectful attitude about knowing where Freddy's bones were.
Mhm.
There's a scene where he's like, "Where the Owens?" He's like, "They're in here. I really quite honestly don't even remember
Mhm.
if I could find them if I had to."
Oh, he knew.
And he knows, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you don't
It's
forget
this
that.
willful like you when you set something aside, this willful forgetfulness of something when you want to bury something, which he hasn't done because he has to literally bury Freddy to beat him.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
There is something to be said. I felt like there was some symbolic thing where it's like this is not necessarily the kids' fight. It's the parents' fight. The parents need to finally bury this thing that happened to them.
Yeah.
And if all these other kids are the children of Elm Street, And their parents are just like, let's just throw him in a fucking psych ward and just hope everything is going to be okay. Let's not pretend like we actually think that Freddy might be coming back, even though we fucking did and then did fucking again.
Well, and this this also all relates back to a teen suicide also, because that's a very heavy theme in this movie is that people believe these teens are committing suicide and they're telling their parents otherwise. Like, this isn't me doing this, and their parents won't believe them.
Right.
And it's like this cry out for help. No one believes you. And I feel like a lot of teenagers have felt this way. And this might be why this movie does touch people a lot of that way. And I do honestly feel like Freddy is supposed to be almost that physical representation of not having control. And that's what this movie's about too. Not having control over something like your own life. And then finding that power within you to take control of your life and tell that person that's telling you no, or that person who's trying to stop you, now fuck you, get out of my way.
Yeah. Well, I also like the diversity of the kids. Like, they all were pretty different from each other, and I thought that might play into your point.
Well, you also said Kincaid. I'm glad you brought up Kincaid.
Yeah.
Man, I loved him in this movie.
That voice took me by surprise for a second.
What, his voice?
Yeah, it was a little too like, hey man, I forgot about that.
When those guys came
You
in,
ain't put me to sleep. I ain't go to sleep.
that's what I believed that scene. That scene's very believable to me.
No, I like him. I do. I was just taken back.
No,
for a
I'm
second.
just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just got excited about that scene. I wasn't judging anyone, Chris. I just got excited about that scene. I wasn't judging anyone, Chris. Calm down. I wasn't accusing or anything.
Kincaid.
No, I just feel like he's very good in that scene. It was like very believable. Where like the worst,
a little overacted
No,
towards the end there.
No, I'll tell you what. I'll take overacting compared to fucking God, what's her name? Langenkamp.
Heather
Yes.
Langenkamp.
She phoned it in. I feel like in this.
No,
one.
like half the time, terrible acting, man.
I hated all the kids in this. I'm gonna say I didn't like any one of them.
You're wrong.
Fucking all of them.
Who did you hate?
All of them?
Who'd you hate the most?
Yes.
Who did I hate
Please.
the most?
Oh, please don't say.
Say
Go
it.
ahead.
Say it. Say it.
There's a lot of different reasons why I hate everybody. I might not like the girl that decided that her power was going to be a pre-Riot Girl punk girl.
That's my
I
favorite.
don't know
one.
if I liked her.
That's my
I
favorite
definitely
one.
fucking didn't like the kid in the wheelchair because the moment.
See how he is?
Yeah, I see
Oh
it.
my
You got
god!
Let me
tone.
tell you something.
He's like Freddy.
Let me tell you the reason why. When I remember this as a kid. I remember it being like, he turns into a wizard, fucking badass. And then when I saw it this time, I was just like, what Siegfried and Roy fucking knockoff bullshit is this? Like, I remembered it as being like a Gandalf wizard. Like, and he's just like, but he turns into the most flamboyantly Vegas-y fucking asshole. And then his powers do fucking nothing. He gets stabbed in the shoulder, and we got to assume he's dead.
Can I just tell you something? The cape was a little big.
It was ridiculous.
The cape
It
was a little
huge,
big.
like fucking like
It looked like
was a
Dracula collar.
it looked like you know what it reminded me of, like the armor in the new World of Warcraft movie, like this oversized, like unrealistic.
Did anybody
like,
watch
That doesn't work.
no, I'm just saying, like people may.
It's all
have
over
who listen.
Facebook,
It's all-
Kyle.
Oh, sorry.
Get on the social media, Kyle. Learn something about it. But no, I mean, what? All of them?
Yeah, I also forgot how bad Nancy is as an actress.
Yes.
But I will like to say
She's not that bad though. That's the thing.
She's very bad.
In the later film, and in 7, she's not that bad.
Right.
And in 1, she's
That's
not
why I
that
wanna
bad.
say-
she phoned it in.
because I want to say there is a testament to that because, you know, Patricia Arquette is horrible in this film too, but she just won an Oscar. Like, it just kind of goes to show you that maybe it could be like a director can make you a bad.
Oh, absolutely.
Actor.
Absolutely, a director can.
Well, I think her character.
Absolutely.
But it sounds like everyone is reading off, like
No.
reading their scripts
Lawrence
like on the
Fishburne's
floor.
solid.
no, I just
Fishburne's always solid. How dare you even suggest otherwise?
I He's always
I didn't
good.
suggest anything. I said that he's solid in this
No, he
movie.
is.
And even I honestly he was pretty campy. I guess the evil nurse was believable.
yeah, no, she's
Yeah.
good.
But the doctor is
The
he
guy-
from
the-
Body Double?
He is. He's the guy from Body Double.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, he had some parts that were good. He was like 50-50.
Yeah, there were sometimes again lines that sound like they're
The
just
most
read off a
the
cue
most
card.
unbelievable character is the one that doesn't speak the whole film.
Oh my gosh.
The mute.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
forgot that kid's name. Was
I
it
don't
Joey?
like him either.
He looks like a fucking
He looks like
Joey.
Joe with that
Looks like,
mullet.
he looks like a Joey, all right.
It is definitely Joey. I see. That's the thing is like I don't know necessarily. I feel like I don't feel like Patricia Arquette was a bad actress in this movie. I feel like she had a bad character.
I don't know. There is something I want to say about Patricia Arquette. Patricia Arquette always there's always something about her that makes me feel like she's a bad actress for a little bit. And then she does like a really good movie, and I'm like, okay. Like I remember all through Medium, I was just like, why does it sound like she's so monotone all the time?
Mhm.
Patricia Arquette, the way she delivers lines, just like the ghost is in my bedroom. Like it's just like,
Well,
it
she-
sounds like she doesn't have any inflection half the
She
time.
kind of has this weird. I feel like she's like holding back. Like there's even a scene where the little girl says, "What's your name?" and she goes, "Kirsten." Like she calls herself Kirsten. Her name's Kristen in the film.
Yeah.
And like many reviewers have pointed this out that this is like was she phoning it in? Like what's going on?
I think there was a lot of that. It just sounds like it was the
I
whole
just think it
performance
sounds
is
like it
unprepared.
just sounds to me like not a solid director.
And she's
Yeah,
she's
I
my she's my least. Well, see, I did almost disagree with that though because
that's a director's like main job is to like manage the acting and make sure that's on point.
but the sets and special effects in this movie are amazing.
yeah,
yeah,
they are.
that's the art
Okay.
director. He killed it.
I mean,
Good job, whoever that guy was.
like destroyed it. The special effects are just. I mean,
Oh, the
are
Freddy
awesome.
Snake dude. Yeah,
Oh,
Freddy Snake's
that's a great
badass.
scene.
Freddy Snake
That
is cool.
slam when it falls down and slams to the ground. I felt so bad for whoever that stunt double was. 'cause
I
that
thought it
looked
was
like
her.
hurt.
I thought it was her for a second. Actually, like it kind of did look like her that fell out of the mouth.
Yeah,
I don't know. It looked convincing to me.
Mm-hmm.
but no, I was gonna say that she's my least favorite character.
Yeah.
She's my least favorite character.
Mine might be Taryn.
Why? Is Taryn everyone's least favorite character?
She's just not that cool.
She's not
Yeah,
cool.
she's
She's
not
right-
she has knives.
You know,
She's got
and she looks
fucking
like
switchblades. I've got a switchblade.
Yeah, no, and she looks like
halfway
she looks like
there.
trash from Return of the Living
Dude,
Dead.
that is like the
Yeah,
worst
I mean, I guess you
mohawk.
could say that, yeah.
she looks way hotter as a punk rock chick than she did as a
all it
fucking
is.
rehab.
That's all it
kid.
is for Chris.
She doesn't have. She does. She's actually the only one that doesn't have a power.
She looks like a reject from
because she's realistic.
Final Fight.
I guess we should talk about these powers because that's the interesting thing. Like
None of them work.
We keep talking about them as powers, but really they're just the people that they like. That's just their inner person. Like
Yeah.
the wheelchair kid. Like his powers, he can walk. The wizard thing is kind of
It doesn't do anything.
it's extra.
It
It's
tickles
extra.
them.
And like this girl is like she's badass. She's tough and she's strong.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's not in real life.
Yeah. Like
Okay,
these
but
aren't-
why is what's his name? Why is
Kate-
he strong?
because he doesn't feel strong in real life.
In reality, he feels weak. Was that any?
I think
like,
he
did
just
anybody notice that? In
I
the
think
character?
he just wanted to be strong. Like I don't know if he felt that he was weak, but he just
like I
wanted-
get that the kid.
Well, he
speaks.
No. He's right. He's right. He's 100% right.
Yeah, you're
because-
right.
Hold on, because he's also like, he's a tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
And strength would be
But everybody else has such a clear reason to, like the kid who can't speak. Of course, his power is he can scream and destroy
because
everything.
then now finally people can hear him.
Right,
He
right.
doesn't speak because he doesn't
Because
feel like
he
people
wants
listen.
to speak,
He was
but
the
he
one-
can't in real life, but
he-
he can in the dream.
Yeah.
Why do you think
Kyle's right.
Patricia Arquette can do flips and shit?
Well, because she's the special one. She can do whatever the hell she
Well,
wants.
she has two powers. Her primary power
It's
is
pulling
she
people
can
That's like
pull
her
people.
re- that's kinda
she
like
can
her
pull
real
people
life
into,
power, though.
into her dream.
That's like a real life. That's the only power that like actually traverses into the real world.
Wait, I just want to say real quick one thing about these power scenes with the kids. I don't think there was enough of it.
No,
I
there
agree.
wasn't. I
Like-
was so let down.
I
There
thought
should've been
I
more.
remember this being like long drawn out scenes,
yes.
and now it's like I see it. I'm like, that was like 2 minutes. Like,
I remember
what-
like there being like flips and like fucking.
There
for
was
some
flips.
reason I always remember I always remember Kane like had a fucking sledgehammer that he was like using, and he was like fucking
Yeah, I
beating
remember
down
like
Freddy with it.
costumes. Everybody had
Nothing.
costumes.
I remember that too.
I thought that Patricia Arquette had like a whole like gymnast gear.
You guys are all mixing shit up with other shit.
I
that's
know.
Buffy. No,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You guys played the game of telephone with Nightmare on Elm Street.
She never gets out of that denim. Like I think she never does anything. But
Would you if you had a sweet whitewashed denim set?
But the wizard kid, he decides he's gonna turn into friggin' David Copperfield on
fucking David Copperfield.
on acid.
All right, so let's take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna rate this Mammer Jammer.
Jennifer, your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
All right, guys, we're back, and we are now going to rate Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors. Let's...
Dream Warriors.
I know, automatic point. Let's start...
Wait, what are you rating it?
Yeah.
Oh. What?
He's so excited.
I cannot wait to rate this. Friday the 13th on NES. The game cartridge.
It's the one with Freddy in it.
It's the one with Freddy.
It's where you have dream powers,
It's basically
right,
Dream
guys?
Warriors.
Right off the bat.
I was like, what is he talking about?
The whole time I was thinking, like, wait, you had fucking powers in the Friday the 13th game? I could have beat that shit.
I can't believe that we literally had a conversation not even 5 minutes before we started recording about how we misquote everything, and he literally misquoted.
I sure did.
Like crazy. All right, so it's going to be Friday the 13th NES cartridges. Let's start with Chris. How many cartridges do you want to give it, Chris?
This one was tough. Because there's part of me that wants to give it a high rating and part of me that kind of wants to be fair about it. But my heart's telling me to do 4 Friday the 13th NES cartridges. I'm a fan of this series. I'm even okay with the Johnny Carson era of Freddy. I think it's a cool, fun character, and this one has something special. It has some magic about it, and I think it does come from like the kids having powers, the rock and roll, I don't know, style or pace that they were trying to give the film. It explores Freddy's character a lot more and what he's capable of doing and getting away with. I don't think Chuck Russell did a bad job, honestly. I know there's been some complaints about his direction, but I think he was pretty ambitious with this one, and that's probably what seals it in the cult favorites. And this movie is one of the more memorable ones for most people, and I can see why. So it's going to be a 4.
All right, guys, let's go with Kyle next. Kyle, how many Friday the 13th NES cartridges would you give?
Yeah, I always remember this being my favorite Friday the 13th. Oh
my God.
Victory. Everybody thinks we're doing Friday the 13th.
Should I design the whole rating box graphic as Friday the 13th?
Everybody's like, what the fuck?
It's the right episode.
We don't even know what movie we're talking about. Somebody comments on Instagram, I thought the third was in 3D.
All right, Kyle, how many Friday the 13th NES cartridges are you going to rate Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors?
Thanks for clarifying that. I'm going to give Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 3.5 cartridges. This has always been my favorite one of the bunch, and to kind of just go off of everything we've kind of talked about and touched on the show, yeah, it's got a lot to do with the fact that these kids have powers and that they're kind of taking a more direct approach to dealing with Freddy. Whereas in the first movie, she's like, she kind of falls back onto a reactionary thing where it's like, all right, a bunch of shit's happened, a bunch of people died, now I'm going to stand up. This one, they're kind of, at least the concept is they're going to use their powers to kind of fight back. Does it play out as well as my memory tells me it does? No. I mean, it's not nearly. The powers aren't as cool as I thought. But to Cody's point you brought up earlier, I think this film is the perfect balance of Johnny Carson, Freddy, and Scary Freddy from the first one. You get little bits of it, and it's balanced and it's nice. And I liked all the characters for the most part. I thought they were, there's a couple of kids that were, kind of throwaways, but I thought it was a good film overall. So, it's not a 5. I think the first one would get a 5, but this gets a 3.5.
Okay. All right. Next up is Mike. Mike, how many Friday the 13th NES cartridges will you give Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors? That is not, Part 3 is not in the title. I just want to specify that this is not Friday the 13th.
It's not at all.
This is Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors.
Okay, so like most of you guys, this was my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street growing up, but I've grown up.
What happened?
So, the whole point of this podcast is to go back and review films, see if they still hold up. This is one that, man, it really surprised me that it kind of didn't for me. I look back on it now, and like we've all mentioned a little bit, like the kids' powers. That's such a great idea, but now looking back on the film, they don't do anything, and none of them really manifest in ways that I remember. The acting is bad. There's a whole part where, you know, Freddy turns into a skeleton from Clash of the Titans, which, strangely enough, Ray Harryhausen got right better than in like 5 years before that. Like, there's just so much of this film that's so cheesy and wrong, and it doesn't feel right, and it's better. I will say it is better than the ones that follow it, the really, really campy ones. So I'll give it more points on that. But I'm going to give this a 2.5. 2.5 Friday the 13th on the Nintendo Entertainment Systems.
That's right. We said that right.
Look at that. We made it.
All right, so I will go next because I am last. And I am going to give this 4. I still love this for nostalgic reasons and for reasons now. Nostalgic reasons is because I do remember this as a more grandiose film than I remember it. And then as the adult reason, it is more grandiose than I remembered, and I'm pretty impressed for how grandiose they went with a $4 million budget. I feel like there's a lot of undertones that Wes Craven kind of threw in the script of this there. I feel like could have been fleshed out probably a lot better in the original script. This was rewritten, I think, a couple times. I like how it touches on teen suicide. Obviously, that was a thing, I think, when this movie came out. That was pretty prominent. But it kind of touched on a real life thing that also made it more scary. I don't know. I connect with the kid. It's like the Breakfast Club of horror movies in a way. like, I don't know. For some reason, I kind of attached to it in that way. I like all the characters. I really like the special effects in this movie. They're really fun to watch and inventive, I feel like, as far as Freddy and the environments and how he changed them into himself. So I'm gonna stick with a 4 on this one. I still love it. It's a great Halloween movie. Throw it on, watch it, see what you guys think, and that's it. All right, guys, make sure you follow us on social media at cultfilm_review on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can follow Kyle Smith at.
You can follow me, cultfilm_Kyle on Instagram.
You can follow Chris at
cultfilm_Chris on Instagram.
You can follow Mike
at Mike Salustio on Twitter.
You can follow Cody at.
Thank you. That's the first time. You can follow me at VHS Collect on Instagram. I do feel special now. Wow.
Doesn't that feel nice?
Yeah. And then, guys, you know what?
Hey, guys. Hey, guys.
If you're going to join a cult, make sure they watch good movies. We'll see you next week.
This was also my favorite Friday the 13th movie.
God damn it. Really?
Yeah, it was my favorite.
Friday the 13th movie is what you just said.
Let's start over again.
No! I didn't even catch that.
Everybody's so ingrained in it now that no one even notices anymore. Wow. Okay.